Welcome. So, we can start with Sonia, because our first person is not here yet. So, I heard you this morning, and you did a beautiful job this morning, so you'll do a beautiful job right now. And here comes Nate. So, come on up. This is Sonia Rivera, and I'll let her tell you a little bit about herself. And we'll go from there and then listen to what she has written. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sonia, and I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited to be here. This piece is it's a piece about, I just wrote it very recently, so it's still a work in progress. It's not quite finished, so I may not read all of it. And it's about sort of my mom's efforts to try to maintain my Mexican culture when we moved to the United States, and the various ways that she tried to do this, and more specifically with ballet folklorico, which I'll explain now because I have a footnote that I don't want to read in the middle of it. But ballet folklorico is a traditional Mexican dance that accentuates local folk culture. Can you hear me? Thank you. Oh. Okay, thank you. That accentuates local folk culture with ballet features like pointed toes, exaggerated movements, and highly choreographed routines. And it starts off with a memory of my mom when she was younger, which I wasn't there for, but she told me about this. And it's called Watering My Roots. When my mother was 16 years old, she started a peculiar daily routine. Each new morning, when the house was still, she would slink out of bed and into the bathroom with a black pen in hand and a picture torn from a Mexican magazine. 45 minutes and a cramped hand later, she strolled out of that bathroom with her shoulders back and a faux tattoo on her arm of an eagle wedged between the words, Hecho en Mexico, made in Mexico. This was the logo displayed on all things made in Mexico, like her, and she bared it proudly. If the choice had been her own, that tattoo would be real. The kind you clench your teeth, bleed, then pay for. That is how much she loved her country. But Mexican mothers are usually not too fond of tattoos on their children, and my grandma was no exception. My mother never got that tattoo on her arm, but to this day it remains neatly stitched across her heart. My mother was 26 years old when we arrived in America in May of 2002. As we sat on the floor of the narrow coal trailer that was home, my mother flipped through the savings in her withered purse and made two promises. The first was that one day I would lead a life easier than her own. The second, and equally important promise, was that I must never let my culture leave me. My first 3 years of life across the border were soaked in English and a culture unlike the one I'd known back home. My mother had been right when she told me about sweet apple pie, rock and roll, and sparking pinwheels on the 4th of July. Above it all, she had been right to say that life here was a brighter color. I grew into my country, and it grew into me. And as I nestled deeper into the arms of America, my mother found opportunities to feed my native culture too. On weekends, when work allowed my mother's feet to rest, we crafted empanadas and tamales, following crinkled recipe cards passed down from our abuelitas. She corrected my Spanish when I misspoke or used Spanglish, and lulled me to sleep with Mexican voices of Pedro Infante and Lola Beltrán crooning gently from the radio. My mother sprinkled Latin spice into my life like she sprinkled cumin and chilies into our food. I remember the irrepressible grin on her face when she picked me up from school one day and laid a black plastic bag across my lap. Inside was a pair of slick black shoes with rows of silver nails blended smoothly across the soles. Her lips curved wider as she reached and pulled the second pair of shoes from the back seat of the car and announced that we were going to learn ballet folklorico together. On the first day of class, my mother and I were greeted by our dance teacher, a pale, curvy woman with short curls and the pliability of licorice. Her name was Olga, and she was the living, breathing version of Betty Boop, whom I later found out she was a huge fan of. She tapped a button on the stereo and sashayed towards the mirror wall to model the warm-up for the class. An upbeat mariachi song boomed and echoed through the walls, and within seconds of watching her swift feet skip across the wooden floor, I knew folkloric dance lived within her veins. And I believe that was the exact moment my mother knew she had brought me to the right place to water my Mexican roots. And that's it.